Today I'm going to show you from start to finish how I painted this using oil paints, paintbrushes, and of course palette knives. Okay, so I'm working on an 8x8" MDF wood panel, and my colours today are titanium white, cadmium yellow light, cadmium red, ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, and my medium today is Gamblin solvent-free gel. I'll put the reference photo here. Picture I took last weekend, so I'm going for something really moody today. Something moody and pretty impressionistic. I've got a pencil crayon drawing on the actual surface, which took me about 30 seconds just to knock down. And it just sort of gives me a little bit of a guide into what's going on. So I'm just mixing up the darkest part here of the cloud with ultramarine blue, titanium white, and burnt sienna. And I'm just adding a little bit of white. I'm not going to go too dark with this painting, and I just added in a little bit of that cadmium yellow there just to kind of warm it up a bit. So brushes today are from Rosemary & Co. I'll leave a link in the description below. This is an ivory flat size 4, and what I found quite interesting now was when I was kind of painting, it kind of picked up a bit of that crayon. The crayon is oil-based colour pencil, and it kind of picked it up a little bit, which I quite like. So it sort of warmed up the painting naturally, because the actual colour pencil is brown. So I don't want to go too cold with this painting today. I chose this reference photo for something simple, but I kind of struggled a little bit in some areas. I've felt like I was about to sort of overwork it in about 15 minutes time. You'll see, but I didn't. I'm fairly happy with the outcome of this. So I'm just knocking in, just sort of trying to find the darkest area of the clouds, and all I'm going to be doing is just kind of identifying really those dark areas, and I'm going to be adjusting that mix just by adding titanium white into it. So nothing complicated at the moment. So the surface is MDF wood panel, and they come in packs of 5. And I'm using Michael Hardin non-absorbent acrylic primer. I'll leave a link to both of those products in the supplies link. Get your hands on some of that primer. It's amazing. It's non-absorbent, and it just feels amazing when you're painting, as you don't get any sort of paint that sort of gets absorbed into the surface. I love the stuff. So again, just in identifying a kind of mid-tone. And yeah, I just used a couple of paint brushes in this piece, and I'm using water mix sport oil paints, and I have a jar of water next to me, and just to keep, it's just an easy cleanup really. I mean, I don't see any sort of difference between traditional oils and water mix sport oils. Just an easy cleanup, and I can keep my brushes clean in between when I'm painting, without the need of mineral spirits, basically. So again, still sort of dancing around a little bit, using the same brush and trying to find kind of what's going on. As I said, I wanted something a bit minimal, but it didn't really turn out quite minimal. It was very impressionistic, and you're going to see me use palette knives later on. But I'm playing around with sort of paint application as well, the thickness of the paint, some thin areas, some thick areas, and not over blending everything. Trying to keep those brush strokes visible, and some not visible. So a lot of white now, and the paint mix you can see is still quite warm. I think it's picked up from that oil-based pencil crayon, which I kind of like, because the picture itself was fairly cool, and a bit of warmth just sort of warms up the painting a little bit by accident. But I did add a little bit of that cadmium yellow in the mix as well, a tiny little bit. So a bit thicker paint here, and yeah, this painting took me about half an hour. You can say 35 minutes, in total with the cleanup and everything. But in general, it was about half an hour. But yeah, very impressionistic and a lot of fun as well. I feel like I haven't painted for about 2 weeks. I think it's been 2 weeks since I last painted. Um, okay, I'm painting at school a little bit here and there and doing a few designs, but nothing like an actual tutorial. So I'm doing a random voiceover here, and yeah, it's amazing what you can create in 30 minutes. I reckon I could have got this done in 20 though. Yeah, but yeah, a little bit of almost kind of overworking the piece a little bit. I have the reference photo to the left of me on the computer, and I was just sort of looking at the patterns. I really like the reference photo, and I was thinking, oh, am I going to do all the details? No, it's an 8 by 8 inch wood panel, and I don't want to get caught up in so much detail. And I kind of found myself getting caught up in a little bit of detail. I think in the next sort of 5 or 6 minutes, but yeah, I'm fairly happy with the outcome. So again, it's a really simple color palette. My colors are really simple. Um, I don't use many colors really. It's fairly limited, the palette. Um, just the three primary colors are brown and whites, and it kind of keeps the painting simple. I think when you lose using fewer colors, it just keeps the painting more harmonious, and you don't get sort of confusing um, with all the colors that you have on the palette. I just like to keep things simple, and um, I wish I kept this painting a little bit more simple. But as I said, I'm fairly happy with the outcome. I got to paint. I get to talk to you about it, and yeah, I hope it gives you a little bit of value into my thought process and my techniques. So if you don't know, I'm an, a painter. I paint mostly alla prima, and kind of focusing on that really weird combination of impressionistic, abstract, with a touch of realism. And I really enjoyed painting alla prima, which is painting the creating a painting in one session, finishing it off in one session, and I really like the effects that you can create, and a lot of like kind of like being quite spontaneous. Um, but yeah, I have a lot of fun with these alla prima paintings. So a lot of thick paint there. Trying to keep the sky a little bit minimal at the top there. There's a lot of lights, and um, I want these brush strokes. I want to have like some sharp kind of edges in my paintings, and these brushes really do wonders for that. And some areas not kind of sharp, so soft edges. So if you can get a balance between both of those, between soft and hard edges, I think a painting it does make for an interesting piece. And I'm not relying too much on getting the exact colours. I'm just having the reference photo there as a guide. I think values are quite important. However, make I don't create sort of high contrast paintings. You might get a bit of contrast in it somewhere, but I kind of like these subtle paintings at the moment. Keeping things really simple and enjoying the process really. And I always learn something every time I create one of these um, small painting, these tutorials. I get to talk to you about it. I always learn something along the way. So okay, so a lot of thick paint there. I'm leaving sections where I want to kind of fill in to get my lightest kind of tone. And I'll also be adding in some blue shortly into these areas, and a nice lot of kind of like blue sky was kind of appearing in between this sort of moodiness of the clouds, and I really liked that. I thought it was really cool. So you're going to see that shortly. Shortly being now. So ultramarine blue with a touch of that gambling solvent-free gel, and added some whites. And I jumped back and forth of this area. I mean, I wanted it to be quite not dominant, but quite sort of vibrant. So I'm using my number 0 brush here, a bit of a small brush for what I'm used to working with. Um, but yeah, having that, using that kind of small brush just allows me to get a little bit of um, thick paint into there without sort of disturbing too much of what I've already put down. And then I can begin by adding in whites. It became a little bit lighter at the bottom. So it was very strong and vibrant in the middle of the surface with the blue. And then it got, yeah, a bit lighter towards the horizon. So yeah, these impressionistic landscape skyscapes are a lot of fun, and it's really important not to overthink it. Um, it's kind of like painting with and trying to avoid sort of all the details and just trying to create the illusion of something that's kind of happening. And it's all, I mean, technique does play a huge part in this, but I found myself looking at this photo thinking, okay, I love there's a lot of small details in there, and I could have. You're going to see me use the palette knife shortly, but well now, um, but yeah, it's very it's it was quite difficult, this one, and um, I really enjoyed that part, that it was difficult, because a lot of my paintings at the moment, in the last sort of month or so, they sort of they feel it feels like it's kind of coming natural, not like I'm an expert in my field, but um, it kind of flows. It's been flowing quite nicely with these small kind of paintings that I'm doing. But this one I sort of struggle a little bit. But as I said, it only took me half an hour, so I'm fairly happy. If it had gone to 45 minutes, I would have probably thrown it away. um, so I'm gonna jump back into a dark mix now. Same sort of mix, about equal measures of ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, with a touch of that already mixed of titanium white and a little bit of that cadmium yellow. Because I think I'm going to jump back into adding a bit of dark areas into the clouds. Oh, I could be painting. No, I could be mixing up for the mountain and clouds. So again, got my small palette knife, and I'm just beginning by um, layering on, basically, just to sort of add a little bit more contrast with in the sky there. But I really like this kind of effect where you can use um, paintbrushes and palette knives, and I especially love being able to kind of scrape paint away, because it kind of gives you a um, not accidental, but something that's a bit that wasn't planned in the actual texture of the surface. I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, a lot of fun with the palette knife, and kind of still finding my way a little bit. Don't want to go too dark with this, but it was fairly moody. But it was a kind of moody in a quite a charming way. Um, it was all like quite silver, and there was a little bit of rain cloud, but didn't want to go too dark here. And I wanted that area to be fairly blended, so that's what I did. I blended it out slightly with my large bristle brush. And again, back to the same brush. And the beauty about water mixed oil paints that I mean, I only used like two brushes, two main brushes and two brushes to blend. But the beauty is that, yeah, I can keep these brushes fairly clean with water, and I really sort of do rinse out the water before I start painting, so I don't want it to sort of water down the paints too much. I can use a bit of that medium for diluting the paint. So a lot of that thick paint now, that's fairly light, and I'm just going to begin by um, kind of sculpturing the paint now, and really adding that thick texture into the direction that sort of draws your eye in, really, into the middle. Got my smaller palette knife there because I realised that I'm working on a fairly small surface, so I wanted some smaller details and some smaller highlights with that really thick impasto paint. And it's great because I can really move this paint around as well, and love scratching it away and cutting into the paint and blending a little bit. But yeah, it all does seem a bit chaotic and kind of hard sometimes to explain what I'm doing. It's kind of about pressure as well, because I want some really thick textured areas to show and some not, so I can actually blend and blend with the actual palette knife and just kind of cut through into the sky there and add some texture parts. It's a lot of fun. It does. It's probably um, easier for you to actually try it. Like, don't be scared of using a lot of paint. My paint seems to last a long time though, because I guess that these surfaces are fairly small, an 8x8 inch panel. If I was working on a 100-inch canvas, I would be in a lot of trouble. Too much paint to be used. But yeah, I got my blue there. I just noticed into the surface at the top there that we had some blue sky showing. So I just added it in there. But I really love how that, again, that pencil crayon has sort of given it a bit of a glow. That was accidental. Okay, I have my blending brush there. I'm just gonna kind of slow down a bit and just blend in some areas really. So I hope you're enjoying the video so far. I guess that I should probably mention that I do have Patreon, where I offer a lot of exclusive content that I don't share anywhere else online. Check it out in the link below, and I hope to see you there. So I'm going to go for, I think I'm going to go for a mountain color now in the distance. So a bit of that ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, and a touch of that cadmium yellow light with a touch of white. And I'm going to be, there's a bit of variation here, and I sort of saw this kind of cool blue, but it had like hints of green in it. So as I said, this photo was taken on a rooftop in Athens. I don't think I mentioned that I'm in Athens. So we have mountains in Greece, and it's amazing. But distant mountains are really kind of special. So I just like that mix there. Added a bit of yellow just for some variation. Paint is fairly thin here, and the brush is a pretty good size. That's my size 4 again, I believe. But it kind of like mirrored the sky. It was quite interesting. So the sky was this kind of like grey color, but I warmed it up slightly, and it was like mirrored into the mountains in the right in the distance there. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I want to go a bit darker now, so I've got the same mix. I'm going to go for this more of a green color. So I've just mixed in that ultramarine blue on top of the mix, darkened it a little bit with some burnt sienna and some more cadmium yellow. I'm going to go for this like kind of like darker green now. Well, it looks brown at the moment, but yeah, it's kind of green there. So yeah, fairly dark. So what's kind of closest to you can be darker, and also here could be brighter, which I'm doing here in the foreground. So usually I use my palette knife in the foreground, but I decided to use my brush today just to change it up a little bit. And keeping the paint fairly thin. Not using much medium at all, just putting my brush in the medium a little bit there. Don't need too much medium. Just helps with the paint flow a little bit. And I barely wiped this brush as well, which is quite interesting. Yeah, I mean, I said I washed it once in between the sitting, but I wiped it a little bit. But here I've just got a mad mix now of all of that, and I'm just dragging down now. And I'm going to create some sort of like city with a palette knife with all the kind of random colors I have there. I wanted to warm it up a little bit as well to indicate some rooftops. So I could just drag it down, and I have kind of this abstract texture without painting every single house and rooftop that I see. I absolutely love that. And just wanted to highlight a little bit with my blending brush, and I put the blended brush into the white paint there because it's a very soft brush. I wanted a really soft kind of subtle blends that kind of you see in the distance there that shines onto the mountain. So it's probably about here that I realized, I want to make a few changes and well, not changes, but a few kind of details. And I thought, okay, so I've just got a little bit of warm mix into there just for some added interest, but kept it fairly moody still. I think I lost the charm that I mentioned in the earlier about the actual reference photo. It was quite a kind of charming kind of mood. Really sort of elegant silver clouds coming through, but I'm okay. I mean, I don't want to paint the reference photo to be exact. Here I'm just scraping away a little bit um, and blending with my finger, which gives a really like harsh blend. And then just really sort of thick paint here and there just to indicate some highlights. So it's really impressionistic and abstract, this piece. And palette knife, amazing. This is my mini palette knife. All my palette knives are amazing. I only use about two or three. One to clean up the actual panel, the actual palette as well. But yeah, trying to keep it fairly kind of silvery light and very abstract and impressionistic. I'm just indicating some distant houses really with the edge of the palette knife with that white paint and just scratching in as well, just for some texture really, and so just to reveal some highlights. So I scraped away a little bit there, and I'm just getting pure titanium white because it was almost pure titanium white here, and it just sort of mixes a little bit. It kind of mixes on top of it slightly, so it doesn't appear to be um, pure titanium white. But yeah, highly impressionistic. This will take ages to dry. My paintings are taking a while to dry at the moment because of the weather. It's freezing outside, even with the heating on. It just seems to take a while to dry. But this will be dry in just over a week, maybe 10 days. So I've got all the mad mix there with my medium-sized palette knife, and I just want to identify the horizon and pushing down fairly hard. It's all about the pressure with the palette knife, as I said before, as I always say, and the application of paint. It's just easy. It's easier for you to actually try it, just to kind of get a feel with kind of what's going on, and um, but yeah, this is my old bristle brush again, and I'm just softening a few little areas out here and there. And just decided to turn my paintbrush around just for some scratchy marks, and just keeping hard edges, soft edges. That soft edge there is really nicely blended with the horizon. And now here I just wanted to identify a little bit more of that vibrant blue. So I've got my bristle brush, can't say that 10 times fast, um, and just added in that ultramarine blue and titanium white. Just wanted a bit more blue in that sky. I really liked the kind of vibrant blue that was kind of appearing in throughout the clouds. I'm getting a bit meticulous here with a few details, and there's only so much I can do because the paint is really fairly thick. Um, and this was about the sort of time where I was thinking, okay, I should probably slow down now, step back a little bit. I'll add a little bit of blue, bit more blue at the top there because that's what I saw in the reference, and I liked it. And just decided to go a little bit thicker. These light, it's really thick paint now, where the light was sort of coming through in between the clouds. I really liked it, and going for something that's really impasto without using the palette knife this time. Just went for the brush. Just twisting a little bit. It's something that I rarely do in paintings. Getting that twisty effect. Kind of like doing that with the palette knife really, but just decided to go with the paintbrush on that and just blending a little bit with my finger over that mountain and cutting through with the palette knife, wiping the palette knife, getting the small palette knife, just indicating some houses really. And some distant kind of buildings and whatever we have in the city, old houses, factories, whatever. It can all be said in such a small painting in a really fun way. And I think I'm gonna, yeah, I got a palette knife here. I probably should have stopped about there, but I decided to keep going and just kind of enhance the blue a little bit and then soften it out slightly with my blending brush. I had a great time painting this. I learned a lot from this, and very happy with the outcome. So just want to say thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate your company. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help out the channel. And I'm going to see you in the next video. Take care for now.